Welcome to episode 43 of the Rise Fitness and Nutrition Podcast. I am your host, Carlo. Today, I would like to talk to you about a little bit of a trap that we might find ourselves in more than often and more than we would like to admit. It's called the Hedonic Treadmill. Not sure what I'm talking about? Listen up to find out more. We had talked in the past about the cost of having a super shredded six-pack. We already talked about the fact that you should work on the things that you can control while trying to avoid working on the things that you cannot control. Therefore, we have been working on this side of the fitness and nutrition world already, so this is not new. We also talked about motivation, and if you lost those episodes, I really recommend you to go back and listen to those before moving forward, because I'm adding building blocks to a little bit of a structure here. Today I would like to talk to you about the Hedonic Treadmill. Probably you never heard of it, so let me give you a brief explanation of what is it. The Hedonic Treadmill per se is a metaphor for the human tendency to pursue one pleasure after another. That is because the surge of happiness that's felt after a positive event is likely to return to a steady personal baseline over time. So, to give you a brief example, say tomorrow morning you win the lottery, you'll be like super crazy happy for a few weeks, months, or say years if the amount of money you win is that astonishing. But then things will start going back to normal. So the fact that you reached that level will look like, it's nothing, it's whatever. Then you will start pursuing something else to get the kind of positive high. You know what I mean? Then this, of course, is related to happiness in life in general. But since I don't know much about those topics specifically, I want to talk to you about moving this hedonic treadmill in the fitness and nutrition side of the world. Because ultimately, if you're here, this is what matters to you. This is the first example that I would like to use with you. Imagine that you are on a fat loss journey and you are aiming to lose, say, for example, 6 kilos. And let's use this as an idea. Imagine that you already lost 4 of those 6 kilos, and that's a huge result already. And you feel good about it. You feel good about yourself. You like the way you look. You like the way you feel. You feel less, say, heavy or tired. You go to the gym and you can do more because you feel fresher, better overall. But then, on the other hand, you have these 2 extra kilos that are there. And you are supposed to lose them as well because you were planning to lose 6. And that thing starts bothering you. So how do we turn this into an hedonic treadmill? Simple as that. You started with a huge peak of happiness because you lost 4 kilos. And then that happiness became normal. And then you realize that you need to lose 2 more kilos because that was your goal. So you start to feel, say, slightly dissatisfied about that. And the fact that you just lost 4 kilos, and I say quote unquote just, doesn't satisfy you anymore. So you feel like you need to lose those 2 extra kilos to finally be happy. So you see there's a curve here. Your happiness decreases, then you need to go more aggressively to lose those extra 2 kilos. And then when you reach those, you feel happy. But then you realize that maybe you need something else, so on and so forth. This is the idea. So you reach your first goal, you feel happy about it, then the first goal that you reach sounds like, yeah, whatever, it was fine. And then you feel like you need to reach something else. And then the something else will not be enough. And the cycle keeps on repeating. And it's called hedonic treadmill for the simple reason. Because you keep on running, you can even go faster, but you are on a treadmill, so you stay in the very same position. This is the image. And it's a powerful image because you might not realize that you're running for kilometers and kilometers and kilometers. So quote unquote, you're doing a lot of road, but you are always in the same specific position because you're on a treadmill. So on one hand, you had a progress because you keep on running, so you keep on crunching your miles or kilometers, but then you had the feeling that you didn't go anywhere because you're always there. I know if I tell you this right here, right now, it sounds so obvious. Like, yeah, of course, man, of course. But, and here is the thing, when you are on the treadmill, you are focused on running. And it's difficult sometimes to understand or to see the things from a little bit of an external perspective. So let me translate this into your fitness goals. Say again, you wanted to lose a specific amount of weight and you are progressing towards it. And again, you feel great about it. Or say you want to reach a specific amount of weight on a squat, on the bench press, or the deadlift, and you are doing an amazing progress to go there. And every time you reach a new record, and every time you feel great, but then this record feels like, whatever, I need to do more, without realizing that you got so far already from the point where you started that the progress you made all the way there is astonishing, is amazing. But since you do not notice that because you're always, quote unquote, on the treadmill, it might feel to you that you're not doing any kind of progress. So how do you break this cycle? How do you work on trying to look at yourself from an external perspective a little bit more? It doesn't have to be crazy, but how can you help yourself to figure out that all the progress that you're doing, even if you didn't reach the goal that you set for yourself already, it's just amazing? So how do you get to understand that? I have a few ideas and a few solutions that I would like to explain to you so that you can try them yourself and figure this out to try to, stop the treadmill a little bit. It all comes down to one simple concept: tracking your progress. And how do you do that? Let's start from the basics. You can track your body weight daily and see the trend over at least 30 days to understand if the weight is going in the direction of your goal. That can be increasing weight, that can be losing weight, that can be maintaining weight. All of those are equally valuable goals. And you cannot understand that if you measure your body randomly throughout the week. So if you have at least 30 days of consecutive, consistent body weight measurement on the scale, you can understand if your weight is going the way you want. Tool number 2, take progress pictures of yourself. So stand in front of a camera, head to toes, take a picture of yourself wearing the least amount of clothing possible. So if you're a guy, for instance, only shorts. If you're a lady, you can wear sports bra and shorts, and take a pictures of yourself head to toes, front, back, and eventually sideways. And do this every month. I know it sounds like, that's just not useful, but consider this. When you go on a body transformation journey, small changes might not look visible to you because you look at yourself in the mirror every single day. But small changes do become visible over time, especially if you have pictures of yourself that are spaced in time. Say, when you were a kid, you couldn't really understand that your body was changing from, say 7 years old to 8 years old because you look at yourself in the mirror every day. But then when you go back in time and you look at the pictures when you were like 5 years old, 7 years old, 10 years old, you look entirely different. You might say, well, that's obvious because I was growing up. Sure, but the concept is the same. If you take pictures of yourself every month, you will notice over time a trend that you will not notice if you just look at yourself every day in the mirror. So that when you reach the point of the hedonic treadmill again, when you say, I lost this amount of weight, but I don't feel satisfied because I need to lose this much more. Well, first of all, look at your pictures when you started and look at your pictures today. Can you notice the change? Can you appreciate the change and all the efforts that you put to reach that? That's one thing. And then if you are, for example, specifically going to the gym because you have some goals in terms of weightlifting, track your lifts. Get an app on your phone, write it down on a notebook, it doesn't matter. Use a tool that allows you to understand that, for example, if you're squatting, the day you started, you were able to squat this amount of weight for this amount of reps, and 2 weeks later, 1 month later, 2 months later, you were able to reach this amount of weight for this amount of reps. And you will see that the change is astonishing. But you might not notice that because if you go week after week, to you it feels kind of the same. But believe me, it is not like that. And I'm saying this because I have been through all of those steps myself. So I want to give you the solutions I found on me to help you get rid of those quote-unquote hedonic treadmill issues beforehand, before you fall into the trap of feeling that you're not doing any kind of progress, or that you're not doing enough, or that the way you are today is not satisfactory. Because if you are on a journey, you need to see all the road that took you there so that you can appreciate all the efforts and everything that you put into that. But the hedonic treadmill is always round the corner. So I am far from saying that if you apply these strategies, you will be out of it, safe, done. I'm just saying that by applying these strategies, it might become easier for you to understand that you are falling again in a little bit of a treadmill trap. As I always say, being aware is what makes the difference. If you're aware that you are in a certain situation, you do understand it. So you don't let the situation control you, but you try to control the situation. Or at least, as I said in a previous podcast, you try to control everything that you can control, trying to let go things you can't do anything about. So what do you think about this? Have you been in this situation, or do you feel like you are in this hedonic treadmill? I know it sounds like, maybe I'm not, but think about it. Think about your fitness and nutrition goals and think about the progress you have done so far. Can you see that? Can you recognize that before feeling dissatisfied for the situation you are not in at the moment? Let me know. And also, there's one thing you do have control on, and it's simple. If you like this podcast, I will super appreciate if you could leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcast, and if you could share this with your friends and family, because I'm sure that if these things matter to you, they might matter to the people that matter to you as well. And you will have my eternal gratitude. That's amazing, isn't it? So that's it for today. Do you feel like you were trapped in the hedonic treadmill without realizing it? I know we are all been there, so no need to panic. Try the strategies that I suggested and let me know how it works. You can reach me on my Instagram channel at thecarl.fit. Happy rest of the week!